is this?
Everybody poops sometimes.
Give us the
Wake up, sweetness.
Your first time should be more than special.
I'm in, Savannah said. Good Lord, Gemma. When a man and a woman, in this case, really, really love each other, what happens is they fuck.
Ooh, hello?
Oh, dang it, I lost my fish. This next word almost sounds like Quidditch. Quidditch milade Diana Agosiagath an Fiedian.
As much as I love fucking you, sweetness. We stared into each other's eyes whilst I moaned in ecstasy.
Having consumed half of the bourbon, I keep saying bourbon. You know, every time I mess up on a word, Stunt Mama just shows up.
She had her seductive smile on her lips.
I said we couldn't have sex. I didn't say anything about everything else.
Ew, happy to help. Biatch. You are the spark of light and the vastness of my night. His note, like a finality to a beautiful, breathtaking song.
Holy cow, that was loud. Okay. I don't know why that was so loud, but it was. Mitchell. How was your Christmas, Mitchell? Did Santa Claus give you everything you wanted? It was quiet. Ours was too. It was nice. I even managed to do like 4 loads of laundry. Soothing family time. Yes. Yeah, much needed, I think, sometimes when it's a holiday season. Instead of the hustle, the never-ending chaos. I dig it. Such a lovely cup of tea. KD. Good evening. Not sure what kind of crowd we're going to get tonight since it is the day after Christmas, but we're here anyway, and that's all right. This is why we record. You think the volume's low? Really? Like, I'm low? Or the music is low? Or everything? Because I haven't changed anything. There's music? Yeah. There is. How's that? Is that any better? Meh. Okay. Please hold. Let's see. I can boost my mic. Okay, so I moved my mic to 125%. And I've raised the desktop audio as well. And I can make my mic louder also. Okay. So now the mic is at 150%. How is my voice compared to the music though? We definitely don't want to, you know, have the music be overpowering. Of course, the song just stopped. Voice is a bit lower? That doesn't make any sense at all. That makes 0 sense. Okay, I bumped up my mic in my mixer. So that's so weird. I did have a PC like reset thing happen. But yeah, even that's all normal. That's so strange. You can hear the voice better? That's good. Okay. Well, let's just see how it goes, yeah? And you hear the music. All right, great. I'll have to try and make sure I listen back to the recording. Yeah, because that's just odd. Anyway, KD, I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. Mitchell, it's great to see you. Like I said, I don't know how much of a crowd we're gonna have this evening, but I wanted to get on and read, and so here we are. And that's why we record. This is the puzzle, by the way. I found a Sherlock Holmes pub. How funny is that? I thought, why not? Why not? Go have a drink at the Sherlock Holmes. Okay. The kids are here? Excellent. All right. Well, I guess with that in mind then, I'll turn over to our reading scene and we can just get right into it. There are a couple in London. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Makes sense. Oh, that tea is a godsend right now. Man, I can't believe we're in the 200s already. Sheesh. Page 209 to be exact. In the printed copy, of course. Chapter 33 from Irene Adler's perspective. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and I will read you a story. After I yawn. I woke to the sound of birdsong, a burst of bright sunshine streaming in through the bedroom window, and a headache. I felt sick with apprehension, annoyed with myself for letting things go this far. Adler, you have a headache, you're not stupid. I scolded myself. Holmes, with a clear head, will realize it was a dreadful mistake. You were a dreadful mistake. Now she's just being too hard on herself. Closing my eyes, I recalled the night before when I had wallowed in his sweet smell. The odor of his cologne and the texture of his skin still lingered on the sheets. Opening my eyes, I pulled the covers back from the bed, revealing my naked body. I glanced around the bedroom, observing the empty wine glass on the dressing table and my nightdress discarded on the floor. With a weary sigh, I dragged myself out of the bed and stepped into the shower. The warm water cascading down my naked body felt invigorating. I took aspirin before getting dressed. To prepare for Holmes's return. Good God, how embarrassing would that be? I chastised myself in the bathroom mirror, tying my hair up in a knot and practicing what I would say to him. I walked into the drawing room to discover the broken glass had disappeared, along with the basket of flowers. Gabriella had left breakfast in the kitchen. My stomach churning, I couldn't eat a thing. Pouring myself a cup of café noir, I noticed an envelope addressed to me on the kitchen table. I sighed, rolling my eyes. Hi, Tig. Look at that fancy partner badge next to your name. So great. I'm so happy for you. Welcome in, Tig. Ooh. Excuse me. I'm sorry you're not sleeping, though. Well, here we go. Not exactly original, Mr. Holmes. With some trepidation, I tentatively opened the envelope and read the letter. My dearest Neen, please forgive me for leaving so early. You were sleeping so peacefully, I had no wish to disturb you. I shall be driving down to the village this morning with Ludo Espirito, as I have several matters to attend to, and we expect to return before luncheon. I want you to know that last night was incomparable to anything I have ever experienced, and I look forward to discovering new experiences with you. Yours, S.H. X. I will be soon. I'll reply to you soon too, I'll explain. Okay, no worries. No rush, and I'm not trying to pry either. I read the letter several times, feeling giddy with girlish excitement. I spent the rest of the morning pampering myself, carefully removing body hair, exfoliating every inch of my skin, manicuring my nails, taking extra care with my hair and makeup, dabbing a liberal amount of Eau de Parfum behind my ears. I changed my clothes several times before finally slipping into a navy silk dress. Holmes returned to the barn before luncheon. I heard the brougham returning from the village, the sound of the horses neighing, their hooves stamping, the grind of a wheel as it rasped against the path. Walking onto the veranda, Holmes stood in the doorway. Looking up from my novel, I smiled at him. Are you enjoying the book? Holmes asked. I can see you are reading The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I suppose it makes a change from Charlotte Bronte. There was even a touch of color upon his sallow cheeks. Yes, I am, Mr. Holmes. Why do you ask? Because you are reading it upside down. I am a celebrated detective, for a good reason, you know. Setting the book down, I rose to my feet and walked over to him. I wasn't sure what to do with myself. It's as if I'm afraid to be happy. You deserve happiness more than anyone I know. Holmes gestured to the beautiful bouquet of red roses he held in his hand. I hope this is not too much for our first... whatever you wish to call it. I'm sorry, I'm woefully out of practice. Thank you, I said, accepting the flowers. Such beautiful roses. They've always been my favorites. I will ask Clarissa to put them in water. Looking in his eyes, I said, I want you to know that last night meant a great deal to me. It did for me too, he said. Sherlock, I need to ask you a question. What is it? What is your birth sign? What date were you born? I didn't realize you were interested in astrology. I was born on the 6th of January, a Capricorn, if you believe in all the poppycock. I wouldn't normally waste a minute on that kind of nonsense, I can assure you. I frowned. Oh, the 6th of January, not the 12th. Holmes stared at me with an amused expression. I seldom celebrate the day, but I think I can remember my own date of birth. Yes, but that year? Every year, Miss Adler. Hilarious, Mr. Holmes. Very droll. Holmes stared at me in amusement. I was born in 1854. Thank you, Sherlock. I misunderstood you, that's all. I will be sure to remember that date. I will note it in my diary. Tell me, was your father by any chance born on the 12th of January? You appear to have a fixation with the 12th of January, Miss Adler, he said. But you are only one day out. He was born on the 11th of January, a fellow Capricorn. Holmes clapped his hand to his head. Good God, you are going to expect me to remember your birthday now. Well, go on then. When is it? I was born on the 1st of July. My birth sign is Cancer. I thought you would have already known that. I am a man of science, said Holmes. I'm no astrologer. Tell me, in matters of astromancy, are we compatible? You may well mock. I raised an eyebrow. But I'll have you know that I'm an avid follower of Cephariel and have read several of his books. You must no doubt be familiar with his articles in the Society Times. I have heard of him, Holmes replied, but it's not a publication I would typically read. Well, in that case, allow me to enlighten you. We are both water signs, opposite one another in the zodiac. Different, but better when together. Considered natural partners, opposite signs can be apt. If the suns are well aspected at birth, my independent thinking and capabilities are intended to impress you, as was my dazzling wit and individuality. But at the same time, you are my perfect man, impressive and strong, and I must say that you are unique. I'll take that as a compliment. We share many traits in common, such as loyalty and integrity. Our lovemaking has an earthly sensuality. Well, we are a couple, albeit an unconventional one, said Holmes. The Cancer women can be stubborn and moody at times. Holmes raised an eyebrow. Well, there's a small but beautifully performed understatement. The Capricorn man can be prone to terrible mood swings. He can be an extremely complicated man. Are you getting the picture? I doubled over with laughter. Oh, very mature, Miss Adler. I'm sure you're making this up as you're going along. Your talents are wasted as an opera singer. Do you expect people from all over the world to share traits such as these? Why, it's a ridiculous notion. Holmes looked at me thoughtfully for a moment. Gabriella and Clarissa arrived with luncheon. Holmes took my hand and I followed him into the dining room. We will talk later, We have much to discuss, he said. And that was a very fun and flirty chapter 33. Oh, she's funny. That tea's so good. I don't even make it exactly the same way each time either. Not really. And yet, it just always seems to hit the spot. Chapter 34. Irene Adler. Luncheon was over and the table cleared before Holmes alluded to the matter again. "Shall we retire to the veranda?" he asked. I noticed Holmes appeared a little agitated as he updated me on his inquiries at the florist. "Do you think it was one of the Palmer's agents who sent the flowers?" I quizzed. "It's a distinct possibility," said Holmes. "There is another theory, but I will need further data before I can come to any definitive conclusions. I've sent an urgent telegram to my brother, so hopefully we will know more within the next day or so." "You told me your brother worked for the government. In what capacity? Is he also a detective?" "No," said Holmes. "My brother has a rather lethargic position that would make him unsuitable for detective work, which is a pity as he is by far the superior thinker. Mycroft has a powerful occupation. He is totally indispensable to the British government. If my brother cannot garner the information I have requested, then no one can." "What an achieving family you are." I looked at him curiously. "Sherlock, I don't understand the initial J on the flowers. What can it mean? It doesn't make any sense." "If I receive the answer I'm expecting from my brother, then it will make sense to me. I pray to God that my theory is wrong, but for now, we keep our powder dry." Holmes pulled out the card from the basket of flowers he had kept in his pocket. This little card indeed throws new light on the situation. I perceive that our anonymous scribbler wrote with a fountain pen. The nib has become splayed, giving it a double-visioned look. Observe the bold hand of the message and the letter T which has lost its crossing here. He pointed to the writing. "We are looking for a middle-aged man. Does anything else about the writing strike you as odd?" I shook my head, staring hard at the card. "Well, I can see that the writing slants to the left. Is that significant?" "Yes, well spotted," said Holmes. "The left-hand slant indicates that the writer seeks solitude and anonymity, and that we look at the capital I in your name, which is much bigger than the other letters. The man is overconfident." He pointed to the letters. "The narrow loop here indicates tension. Then, finally, there is a thin loop in the letter E, indicating skepticism or suspicion towards others. It may well be a secret admirer. Or it's very possible that it's another antagonist we are not yet aware of. One of Palmer's agents, perhaps. Unfortunately, I don't have my materials, which I will need before I can give a definitive answer." I stared at him in awe. "You know all this from the short message on the card? Unbelievable." "Don't worry, Neen. I promise you that we will get to the bottom of this dreadful business. Tell me, have you been out this morning?" "No, but I did promise Violetta that I would take Allegra for a canter. I can ask Javier to ride him if you wish." "No need," said Holmes, shaking his head. "If you get changed, we can walk down to the stables. It will be nice to take a stroll in nature together." He took my hand in his, gazing at me solemnly. I fear I may have compromised you last night. I did not observe all precautions. I shrugged. The chances of me conceiving are nil. I have no regrets. You are certainly a progressive thinker, said Holmes. You have always struck me as being ahead of your time. Or wait, no, that's... that is still Holmes. You have always struck me as being ahead of your time. As long as you are sure. Holmes gazed at me. If you had said to me this time last week that I would have concerns about the hazards of illicit lovemaking, I would have thought you quite mad. Holmes laughed, his eyes radiant and shining with a light I'd never seen before. Sherlock, I don't care about any scandal or what other people think for that matter. I only care what you think. But none of this, whatever this is, will ever work unless I'm honest with you. Holmes looked at me questioningly, and I took a breath before continuing. I don't feel I can cope if the cocaine is a long-term habit. I know that addiction and secrecy are not a good combination, but I cannot put myself through all of that again. You are not Godfrey, God forbid, but I need to know if you are dependent on it. Holmes stared at me, holding my face in his hands. No, it's... He paused for a moment. It's recreational. I am sorry, Neen. I cannot lie and promise you I will completely abstain from cocaine. But I swear to you that I will never take it while we are together. All right, I can accept that. I took his hand in mine. Come, let's go for a walk. We strolled through the fields toward the stables. Javier had already saddled Allegro. The colt waited patiently in his box, whickering at my approach. Holmes gave me a leg up into the saddle, and I cantered gently round the perimeter of the field. When we returned, Javier unsaddled the colt and rubbed him down, agreeing to my request that he would ride him out for the next few days. I walked over to the cypress tree close to the stables to find Holmes sitting on a blanket. He appeared relaxed, his hands behind his head. I sat down beside him, resting my head on his shoulders. Lying down on the job, Mr. Holmes, I teased. I was pondering where we're going to live when we return to England. I own several properties in London, but none of them are suitable. I shall instruct Mycroft to sell 2 properties as he knows all the right contacts. Then, when we arrive in London, we can look for something more fitting for our needs. I stared at him in disbelief. Sherlock, I think we're moving too fast. It's improbable I will ever be able to conceive a child. Does that not bother you? I'm happy just to have you. Well, I hope you mean that. I do. I am not with you to increase the population. I frowned. I did not realize I was going back to London with you. Forgive me for being so presumptuous. Do you not think that your brother, your housekeeper, and your good friend Dr. Watson may all be shocked when you introduce me as your lover? Oh, God, no. That would never do. Mrs. Hudson would have a fit. And as for Watson, well, he would be more surprised than shocked. No, I will need to arrange things properly. We will have to live apart until we have found somewhere suitable to live. I stared at him with a look of bewilderment. What is wrong? Or wait, he said that. What is wrong? Not her. I shook my head. Sherlock, I have just discovered that I am to return to London with you, where I am to live alone so as not to shock your housekeeper. Then, as an afterthought, you tell me that you, a man who loathes women, want to live with me and be my lover? It's all too much. I don't loathe women. Well, not all of them. Holmes chuckled softly. I'm sorry, my mind is racing. I realize that I need to slow down and share things with you. Yes, you do, my love. Anyway, living with a man didn't exactly work in my favor last time. Holmes looked at me thoughtfully. Stunt Papa, just lurking and waiting for tonight. See you then. Absolutely. Yes, Tig got partner. Woo. There is a question I would like to ask of you. When you think of me, what is your first thought? What word comes to mind to describe me? If you had asked me that question a few days ago, I would have said irritating. And now? He quizzed, staring at me keenly. Intoxicating, I replied, smiling at him. You want to embark on a personal relationship with me? Huh. Is that not what dull, conventional people do? Only yesterday you told me you didn't want a relationship at all. You are a figure of mystery to me, Mr. Holmes. Why change anything? Mind you, I quite like being your lover. I Stump Mama. Yes, I've noticed. In the darkest moments of my life, you have become a ray of light. I wish we'd met years ago. We did. You just married someone else. Very funny, very droll, Mr. Holmes. It's good to see you. Hope you had a good holidays. I did, minus finding out I have a kidney stone. But, you know, what's new there? Nothing, really. Just another Tuesday. Are you turning me down, Miss Adler? I need to think about it. Well, thinking is good, said Holmes. I can accept that. It means I have hope. I am trying, Neen. However, I need to warn you that when I have little to occupy my mind, I become listless and annoying. Dang it, hopefully not too bad. It shouldn't be. Hi, Gemma. Sorry to hear that. Hello, chat. Just another Tuesday. That's the Christmas spirit. Hi, Rexter. No, kidney stones are just another Tuesday. Christmas is just once a year. Sorry to hear that. And it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But thank you all. Well, in that case, I will be sure to think of something to occupy your mind. I paused for a moment, gazing into his eyes. You know, Sherlock, we could be good together. Imagine that. Yes, said Holmes. I believe we could. I have a surprise for you. This evening, I shall be taking you out for dinner to Othello's Ristorante, an establishment that comes highly recommended. You mean it's the only one for miles around? I am reliably informed they have a string quartet. I love how you managed to keep the romance alive. And Tacky's here. Hi, Tacky. I'm attempting to impress you, and you're not making it easy for me. You don't need to do anything to impress me. You already impress me immensely. Thank you, Neen. That's very kind. I have made a reservation for 8. I hope that is acceptable. Forgive me. I should have asked before making arrangements. My God, I'm so hopeless at all of this. You all right? Do you know that? Well, you're not too bad yourself. I hope you know what you're letting yourself in for. There will be times when I will say things without thinking, which will upset you. And while I will rarely compliment you or be tactile in public places, I shall never lie to you. And on the rare occasions when I tell you that I love you, you will know without even having to ask that I mean every word. No, I said, shaking my head. I don't want that. I'm afraid that's not good enough for me. Then what do you want? I have no idea what's going to happen between us, but I know this. If you love me as half as much as you profess, then give me the same attention and passion that you extend to your other projects, at least while we are together. That's all I ask of you. Holmes stared at me hard. You demand a lot from me, Nin, he said. I cannot promise what you ask, but I am prepared to try. Starting with this evening, if you are happy to take a chance and come to dinner with me. The food is bound to be far more palatable than Gabrielle's offerings, which can at times be less than flavorsome. I took his hand in mine. Forgive me, I was trying to back you into a corner, but I've never felt like this about anyone else before. Really? Not even Wilhelm Ormstein? Especially not Wilhelm. In matters of love, you are quite the virtuoso. Holmes looked at me in amused surprise. Well, there's a sentence I don't hear every day, he said, eyes crinkling at the corners. Never in a million years did I think I would develop feelings for you, Nin. And it's not just about the pleasures of the flesh, as wonderful as they are. I am attracted to your other fine qualities, your individuality, flair and imagination, your kindness and consideration to others. What you have done for the Espirito family takes my breath away. These are rare qualities indeed. My father taught me never to look down on anyone unless you are helping them up, I said, and never to judge anyone irrespective of their status or appearance. Do you mind if we return to the barn? I need to prepare myself. For tonight, I am to walk out with the celebrated detective Mr. Sherlock Holmes, and I fear I may take some time. And that is the end of the chapter. It's funny because the two of them are like going back and forth like teenagers, but they've already had sex, so it's funny. Oh my goodness. It is so great to see everybody. I hope you are all doing well and that you've had a splendid holiday season, however you celebrate that. Let's do some shout outs, shall we?
I don't know, I couldn't find one either. Oh god, don't do it!
Why you?
Apparently, we're not going to get a clip for Stunt Mama. Unless it's just super delayed. Oh, hey. We've seen that clip. Let's try Stunt Mama again. There we go.
Crap. Get off me, you dang pigs! Oh my gosh, a pig killed me! No!
Tacky, you should just, I don't know, make some more. my gosh, it's a Stump Mama's mama. And I just realized Firebot isn't turned on. I'm so sorry. I had to restart my computer and oops. Mama House Gaming, hello. Gosh, my throat. My apologies to stay home? No, don't apologize for getting home. Getting home's a good thing. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I did. It was nice. It was calm. It was just nice, you know? It was peaceful. Family was all there. It's good stuff.
Oh, it's something. Oh, guys, can you see this? I'm not.
Did he live? Did he die? We'll never know.
Flashlight. No. I'm so scared right now.
Well, way to take the mystery out of it, Rexter. You should have been like, you'll have to come to my channel to find out. But then you'd have to go live first, I guess, so. It is what it is. Folks, we are on chapter 35 of this fantastic book. I'm hoping that the hardback set of the Sherlock Holmes books that I purchased actually arrive before we're done, because I would like to read one of them once they get here. And I'm going to let chat decide, but in my mind, they will show up before we're done reading this. I guess we'll see. Okay. Page 221. Irene Adler's chapter. Since they're going out in public, I feel like something might happen. I guess we'll see. Our carriage arrived at Othello's Ristorante at 8 o'clock that evening. The night was pleasant, with a bright half-moon shining in the sky. We were greeted by the head waiter, Franco, who seated us at a table for two on the illuminated terrace with breathtaking views of Florence, overlooking the Duomo and the Plaza Vecchio. I recommend A Scandal in Bohemia. You know, that would kind of make sense, following this book. I will be back shortly with the menus and some water for the table, said Franco. Average Aim. What's up, sir? Good to see you. Merry Christmas to you. The sommelier arrived with the wine list, giving us a few minutes before returning. May I take your order, sir? A dry sherry for the lady and a cognac for myself. Can you put a bottle of Armand de Brignac on ice? Asked Holmes. I ordered the chicken liver pate and the the frittura di Piranza, whilst Holmes ordered the ribollita soup and filet. A lovely, relaxed ambiance ran throughout the restaurante as a quartet played in the background. The sommelier opened the champagne and poured a little into Holmes's glass. He took a sip, nodding his approval. The sommelier filled the glasses before resting the bottle in the wine cooler. I gestured towards the champagne. This is lovely, very intimate. Did you bring me here to celebrate? The two of us finding each other is a cause to celebrate, said Holmes. I paused for a moment. Sherlock, there's something I need to tell you. Okay, anytime someone says that, I just assume the worst. I want no subterfuge between us. I believe that's how it should be if we are to embark upon a serious relationship. Holmes listened with an interested and concerned expression as I continued my narrative. Something strange happened to me when I joined La Scala. On our first day, as we were queuing for registration, I noticed Sophia walk into the room. Immediately, I was drawn to her in a way that I cannot describe. After registration, the students were introduced to each other, all vying for attention from the maestros. That reminded me of school, where I was constantly out of tune with the other girls, like being 15 all over again. Then one girl approaches. She listens. She comprehends. There was an instant rapport when we spoke, which I believe is the true nature of friendship. Sophia's acerbic, I'm not sure what that word is. My cynical? Wit was the perfect foil for my rebellious spirit, and that's how our friendship began. I discovered what I really suspected, that Sophia was this remarkable person who, when I had given up on life, told me that one day I would find the one when I least expected it, that he would be there waiting for me. And then, of course, I started to develop feelings for this man who was trying to save me. And here he is, just as Sophia predicted. And you felt it again with me? Yes, except this time the feeling was much stronger. Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Part of me knew that we would meet that night. In fact, I truly believed that God put me on the planet Earth so our paths would cross one day, like lovers dancing in the night. I realize how ridiculous that must sound to you, a man of science and logic. Lass. Yes, happy Boxing Day indeed. How are you? No, it doesn't sound ridiculous at all. Tell me about this feeling. Did it happen during our conversation in the green room? He stared at me searchingly. No, when we met, you took me completely by surprise. I was immediately taken aback. Your formidable reputation, your thunderous ego. To be honest, at first I thought you were a little pompous, a little arrogant, until our conversation at the carriage. Do you remember we spoke of Wagner? How could I ever forget? That's when the feeling overcame me, I said. You have no idea how affected I was. My desire to kiss you was so strong, I didn't want the evening to end, but I had to leave. I couldn't trust myself not to do anything silly. I cried on the way back to the hotel, and I didn't know why. I put it down to being fatigued from the boat journey. You think that I am an incredible, exceptional person, just like Sophia Stefanato? Why, that's quite the compliment. I know how close you are to Sophia. You were very fortunate to find such a friend. It would appear that we both owe her a debt of gratitude. Yes, I certainly was fortunate to find Sophia, to find you both. But I don't think you quite understand, Sherlock, my relationship with Sophia. I hesitated for a moment, speaking almost in a whisper. We were more than friends. Sophia filled the void in my life caused by my mother's early demise. She fulfilled a need. I craved to love and be loved in those early days. We were very discreet. We had clear boundaries, and from the outset, we never allowed our relationship to intrude on our careers. I don't care what the rest of the world thinks of me. I only care what you think. I stared into his eyes, on tenterhooks, waiting his response. A moment passed, and he offered an awkward smile. You never fail to surprise me, Neen. In a dismal world, you are a beacon of light. Holmes laughed. I understand that life can be complicated and sexual character can sometimes be misleading, especially when we are young and impressionable. When it comes down to it, I don't believe that anyone is entirely one way. One day, humanity will come to celebrate diversity, not turn their backs on it. Sadly, I don't think that will ever happen in our lifetime. You did the right thing to be discreet at such a tender age. It takes courage to live outside the traditional confines of Victorian society. You know, a young lady once told me that sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. Doing good, had a busy couple of days. Good busy, but busy. I get that. Ah, you want the Bane voice. I was molded by it. Very well. It will be painful for you. This is actually going to be really weird. Okay. Let's see if I can hold the book properly. Covering my hand with his, I stared at him. You and me, that is all that matters, I whispered. At the end of the day, attraction is not about looks or status, but about who keeps you up at night. Holmes nodded. The waiter appeared at the table, deftly removing the starter plates. Are you ready for your main course, sir? He asked. My goodness, it's a raid. Brian. Thank you for the raid. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. How are you? Walking Dead.
Uh-oh. Shit. They're gonna beat me up. They're gonna beat me up. Oh, no.
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. I'm doing pretty good. I was just reading in a Bane voice from Batman because someone redeemed it. And then you raided. So thank you for that. In the raid party, if you don't know who I am the Bookfather. I read books. Sometimes I play a game. I voice act on the side. And that's me. So yeah, and we are reading a really great book right now called Song for Someone. Hey, Meek. It's good to see you. King Borthole, father of books. Do you enjoy a good smut book? If it's written well, I do. If it is written well, I do. We've definitely read some pretty good spicy books on this channel. And there's the link. Thank you, Gemma. Recommendations? Well, if you look in my About section, you'll see a whole bunch of books that I've read. Oh, where's Kay? Gosh darn it, because one of hers is really good. It's about wolves, and it's definitely got some spice to it. Ah, you're on mobile. Okay, well, next time. Next time. But hey, welcome, Raiders. Thank you. We only have about a page left on this chapter. If you need to raid and run, totally understand. If not, please sit back, relax, and I will read to you. Sparked Revolution. That's it. Thank you, Stump Mama's Mama. I could see the wolf on the cover, and then I just can't remember it. Okay, where were we? Are you ready for your main course, sir? He asked. Holmes glanced across at me. Yes, I believe we are. There you go. There's my Bane voice. Hopefully it didn't suck. I recommend The Crimson Petal and the White by Michael Faber. Well, see, here's the thing. I can't just read anything on stream. I have to have permission from whoever owns the book, which is usually the author. So I can't just read whatever. Oh, for personal. Oh, okay. Well, that's different. In that case, I can read whatever I want. Your Bane voice sounds a little like Sean Connery. I'll take that as a compliment. Hello, David. David Air on the air, everybody. Actor, fellow book reader, musician, all-round charming guy. Yes. It'd be quite painful for you. Good to see you too. I hope you had a good Christmas.
Please wake up. Please wake up. Wake up. Please wake.
I'm awake. Please wake up. I am. All right, I will finish the chapter. The quartet had advanced to the terrace, playing Concertino in B minor by Franz Lehár. Impressive, I whispered. We finished our main courses. As the sommelier refilled the glasses, I noticed the quartet had stopped playing. They approached our table and introduced themselves. Then they began playing the first few chords of Amazing Grace. The violinist sang the first verse. He gestured for me to stand up to sing for them. I refused at first, finally relented after shouts of encouragement, and continued to sing the rest of the song. The diners erupted into applause when I reached the end. I thanked the quartet. Antonio, the violinist, bowed to me. We are thrilled that you enjoyed our music this evening. It is my responsibility to find the most charming lady in the restaurante and to present her with this single red rose. Beautiful lady, your evening has just begun. He winked, handing me the flower. Compliments of the house, said Antonio. The quartet gave a final bow before walking back to the podium. I glanced over at Holmes. This has been such a wonderful evening, thank you. I am so happy. And that's the end of the chapter, which is excellent timing because ads are about to run. So we'll get the ads out of the way, and then we shall keep going. Of course, now, watch nobody get ads at all, because that's what Twitch does. My goodness. Wonderful stuff? No. What you've written is wonderful stuff. For those of you in chat that don't know, K.D. Sharonford is the author. This is her book we are reading, and she has done a magnificent job with it. If I remember correctly, you said you have won 6 awards for this book. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to see how it ends, or how it just begins. I can't stay tonight. Hubby and I are going to continue watching a show, heading to the downstairs in a moment. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you for being here, Stunt Mom's Mama. Enjoy the show. I hope it's fun. Don't stay up too late. Thank you for saying that, Gemma. Thank you, thank you. Okay, ads are almost done. Hold yourselves. Brace for impact. The book has garnered 6 awards so far. That's so cool. Good night, Stunt Mama's Mama. We shall miss you. All right, welcome back from ads, if you had any. And if not, glad you're still here. We're on page 226, chapter 36, Irene Adler's perspective. Here we go. After dinner, we returned to the barn, resuming our positions at our table for 2 on the patio, Beethoven's music playing in the background. You know, I have to pause already. I really thought something shifty was going to happen at the restaurant, but it didn't. There was ads. Ha ha. So funny, Tacky. Hilarious. I love this piece, I sighed. It's one of my favorites, Beethoven's 4th Symphony in B-flat major. He was in love when he wrote it at a friend's house in the countryside. It's about a countess Beethoven proposed to. Sadly, she turned him down in favor of an Austrian nobleman. More fool her, I say. Beethoven would have been around your age, Sherlock, when he fell in love again. This time with a mysterious married woman, known today as Immortal Beloved. Beethoven wrote numerous love letters to her. Tragically, they were never posted. Must be the worst feeling to be in love with someone you know you can never be with. I didn't get any this time, so I don't know if it was there or not. Hey, perfect. You don't want ads anyway. Nobody likes ads. Yes, indeed, said Holmes. That's why he wrote the letters. He had to find a way to express his admiration, so he used his brain, the most important sexual organ in the body. Your friend Toscanini told me you had a particular penchant for Beethoven. Oh, indeed I do. Did you know that he was most famous composer in the world by the time he died? And of course, he was, tragically, heartbreakingly deaf. The man had to turn around to see his audience applauding. Nevertheless, he premiered his 5th and 6th symphonies and 4th piano concerto all in one concert. Now that's my definition of talent. Beethoven loved his coffee, like me. Mind you, I have a long way to go to reach the dizzy heights of Balzac. Apparently, he drank up to 50 cups a day. When Sophia and I were on tour in New York, we visited Beethoven's memorial in Central Park. You know, the one created by the American sculptor Henry Bear. I sighed. Such was our humble pilgrimage to the great man. I freely admit that Beethoven has long been my secret crush and is the top of my list of imaginary honorary dinner guests. And who else would be invited to this imaginary dinner party? Well, let me see, I said. It would have to be Stephen Foster, Charlotte Bronte, William Shakespeare, and you too, of course. Now that would be quite the dinner party, don't you think? I do indeed. Should I be jealous? Fortunately for you, Sherlock, Beethoven died. So, no, you need not be jealous of a dead man. Mind you, it might be a close call if he was still alive. I laughed, observing his bemused expression. Pray, do tell, aside from Beethoven, do you have a penchant for any other type of music? Rap, hip-hop, and reggae. No, I'm just kidding. She did not say that. That would have been hilarious, though. I love to listen to everything. I enjoy the symphony, concerts, arias, operas, recitals, and even string quartets. And of course, the music composed by the American music legend Stephen Foster. I have an enduring love for his music. Foster's lyrics have all the wild exaggeration and rustic charm of folklore. Holmes took my hand in his. If you have any concerns, or are having second thoughts about embarking upon a relationship together, please tell me now. That's a very interesting time to interject that. He stared at me intently. No, Sherlock, it's what I want. However, I want you to promise me 2 things. Name them. Have a care with my heart. And whenever we argue, and you know we will, don't punish me with silence. You hurt me when you did that. Promise me that you will never do that again. Holmes paused for a moment before he spoke. I would never intentionally hurt you, Neen. As for the silent treatment, yes, I can do that. I promise you I will never ignore you again. Holmes looked over at the gramophone, where the music was still playing. What do you think, Miss Adler? Would you like to take a spin? I don't mind if I do, Mr. Holmes. And that's the end of the chapter. They danced the night away. My goodness. All right. Keeping things moving right along. Thank you for the clap, David. Chapter 37. The following evening, Holmes and I sat on the patio watching the sun go down. "Are you all right?" he asked. "I'm always all right when I'm with you. You know I love it here, in this humble barn. It's as if the rest of the world doesn't exist." "Yes, I entirely agree. Tell me, are you happy?" "Yes, I'm happy. Why wouldn't I be? I can promise you a future, Sherlock, if you can forgive me my past." "Whatever do you mean?" "I'm not perfect, far from it. I'm a little afraid I won't be able to live up to your impossibly high standards." "We all have ghosts, Neen. There is nothing you can do or say that will stop me from wanting to be with you. As long as you want me." "Do you?" he quizzed. "Why ask me a question when you already know the answer? I reciprocate with ardor." "The only people's opinion I would be remotely interested in are Watson and Mrs. Hudson. Are they going to love you? Dr. Watson is quite a fan." "He is?" "Oh, yes. He has always thought very highly of you. I want to see the look of surprise on their faces when I tell Watson and Mrs. Hudson that we are in a serious relationship. You know, I am 41 years old, which is mature for a love affair." "It is mature for many things. As for me, I'll never pass for 25 again." "Same here, girl. Same here. But then again, I don't know if I want to. I'm aging like fine wine. I mean, it's like barefoot wine, but it's still fine." Inexpensive but tasty. I'm happy with staying 30. Yeah. I mean, 30 wasn't too bad either. I turned 40 in like a month, and I'm just, nope. No. Anyway, we will show these young ones a thing or two, I fancy. In that case, to quote Oliver Cromwell, you can have me, warts and all. Oh, I nearly forgot, I have something for you. 40 in November? Wait, Stumpapa, you did turn 40 in November, or you're going to the next time November comes around? Gemma, you're 42? I didn't know that. I wouldn't have pegged you for being in your 40s at all. It's when the aches really started, but I stink. But I stink? I finally figure out this game we call life. It's not a game. It's a torture chamber. This coming November, you'll be 40. Okay. Well, you got 11 months to figure it out. Mitchell's 55. You're quite welcome, Gemma. Mitchell, I've never actually seen your face, so you could be lying to me. I have no idea. I don't think you are, but you could be. Anyway, I am way off track. "What's this?" he asked, feigning impatience. Reaching into my bag, I pulled out a small box wrapped in gold paper and passed it to him. "It's a gift for you. I wanted to get you something to show my appreciation for all you've done for me. It's nothing, really." "You have kept this quiet." "A lady must be allowed to have some secrets." He quickly removed the paper to reveal a wooden box. "And what, pray tell, is this?" Open it, I said. Holmes opened the box underneath. Aw, Moog. My goodness, I was lurking on you. I just never got the chance to say hi. You had like that red ribbon thing in your hair. It was adorable.
Who loves to barf. You love it.
Moog, thank you so much for the raid. My gosh. How are you?
Lahari of them will be stone cold dead.
Oh, no worries. Skedaddle away. Thank you for bringing your folks over. As you've seen, Moog also reads books. She does a lot of sprints as well. Plays games sometimes. Thank you, Moog. And for those coming in with the Moog raid, I also read books, as you have probably realized. Very rarely we play a game when we're in between books, but yeah, thank you so much. Well, for those of you that came in with the raid, if you also need to raid and run, totally understand. But if you're planning on sticking around, we're reading a really good book right now called Song for Someone. It's a Irene Adler book, and Sherlock Holmes is also in it. It's a great story, and we're a little over halfway, so welcome in. I've completely lost my place. Thank you, Gemma. That is the link for the author. Oh, here we go. I found it. Holmes opened the box underneath the paper to reveal a Samson Morden antique silver hand chase dipped pen. He removed the pen from the box, inspecting it with keen gray eyes. He turned it over to read an inscription on the other side that read, Le homme c'est rien, l'ouvert c'est tout. He glanced over at me, eyes shining bright. Thank you. There is no lighter burden more agreeable to me than the humble pen. I think it is quite possibly the most thoughtful gift that has ever been given to me. But how on earth did you know? Dr. Watson told me on the train that it was one of your favorite quotes, amongst other things. I thought that you'd use the pen to write to me when you were away solving crimes. Yes, indeed, I will treasure it forever. And every time I use it, I will think of you. What else did Watson tell you? He asked, a mischievous glint appearing in his eyes. He warned me that you had bohemian habits and that you could be impatient and difficult at times. He was concerned I might not be able to cope with your moods and brooding intensity. But he also told me that I could trust you with my life, that you would never let me down. Holmes' expression turned serious. I was hoping you would consider Paris a suitable venue for our first vacation together. That is not only one of the most romantic cities in the world, it's also where my grand uncle, the military artist Horace Vernet, was born in Louvre in 1789. So it's a place that I've always intended to visit. Paris would be wonderful, I said. I shall look forward to it. But there is one thing I need to make you aware of. I paused for a moment, tears welling in my eyes. I'm so sorry, Sherlock. I have been agonizing over this since you first mentioned it. But I can't move to London. That place holds so many terrible memories for me, and I simply cannot do it. Not even for you. He smiled at me gently. It's all right. I understand. We shall have to think of something else. We can find a place on the outskirts on the Sussex Downs, perhaps. In fact, I'd like to take you there before we make a definitive decision regarding our future. I want you to be happy, and at least this way I can commute to London whenever I need to work. We will find a compromise. Of that, I'm certain. There is one more thing. I stared at him apprehensively. I have no wish to be a kept woman. My intention is to continue with my singing career. I already have an agent in England. Holmes relaxed into his chair, putting his fingers together as he was custom when in a judicial mood. Not very conventional, Dean. However, I respect your wishes. I have no wish to curtail your remarkable talent. You are a free spirit who must be allowed to fly. I nodded. I'm also thinking on taking on some private pupils when we eventually find a place to live, so I could work from home. We wouldn't disturb you, of course. I smiled at the thought of Holmes finding a group of small children running amok infuriating. Holmes smiled at me, as though reading my mind. I think it would be a good idea to continue with my consulting rooms at Baker Street. All the better not to mix our private lives with work. At times we do get some dubious characters knocking on the door, and I do have to consider your safety. Thank you for being so understanding, I said, stroking his face. Your clients will have access to your brilliant mind, but only I will have access to your heart. Of course, he nodded. My work consumes me. There'll be times when we will be apart for long periods. Do you think you will be able to cope with that? Yes, of course. I understand that our relationship will be far from conventional, but at least it won't be boring. And if we are to buy a house on the outskirts of London, my father will be more than happy to contribute. I don't feel that it is fair for you to foot the bill. I appreciate the gesture, Neen, but no, that is out of the question. It is my job to provide for you. As soon as there is a suitable property available that you are happy with, then I will buy it without any undue delay. You know, I really don't care where we live, as long as it's not the center of London and we can be together. I would live in a cave with you. Well, I think we can do a little better than that. He laughed. Or I would not hear the last of it from your father. Speaking of your father, I will write to him tomorrow morning, although I'm not sure if he would consider me an ideal suitor. I can only profess to him my love and ardent admiration for his beloved daughter. I must admit I do have some reservations about corresponding with him. Why? Neen, I'm supposed to be protecting you. I'm sincerely hope your father can find it in his heart to forgive me. Nonsense, Sherlock. My father will adore you. In my letters, I've made him aware of how well you have looked after me during all of this madness. None of us can help who we fall in love with. Holmes nodded in agreement. I breathed a sigh of relief. Telling Holmes I couldn't move to London had taken everything I had. In fact, the very thought had filled me with dread. I would have preferred instead to stay in Italy with its beautiful memories, its endless possibilities. However, I was aware of how impractical that would be. And of course, Sherlock must return to England. Still, I would be alone for the most part while he gave himself up to the next case. I realized that few women could cope with being married to the celebrated detective, whilst I would be there waiting for the most incredible human being I had ever met when he returned and called out for me at the end of a long day. We sat on the patio, hands held together until darkness fell. Holmes kissed me gently on the lips. "And so to bed," he whispered. To bed indeed. That was chapter 37. Wonderful. All right. Let me just take a look-see. We definitely have time for one more chapter, but I do not believe we'll have time for the one after that based on how long it seems to be. So, on that note, this will be our final chapter for the evening. But fear not. Sunday is not far away, and we shall continue. But of course, I should have mentioned this earlier. If you wish to join us in the Discord after this, at the top of the hour, we'll be reading Iron Flame in a private group in Discord. All are welcome. Be happy to have you there. Of course, I think the book followers should read the next book in this series. Yes, I know you do. I like the story and the book cover. It's a very good book. It really is. And the book cover does it justice. It frames everything just right. How young they look. Iron Flame, woot woot. Oh, that sounds fun. I'll be there. Wow, sounds amazing. Can't wait. All right. For the last chapter this evening, chapter 38, page 234, Irene Adler. I saw little of Holmes over the next few days. He set off to the village by the time I awoke and did not return to the barn until late afternoon. I amused myself by baking biscotti and panettone with Violetta and Ava in the farm kitchen. Holmes and I had dinner together later that night. I could sense he was distracted, as though the weight of the world were on his shoulders. Aware that this was one of those times he needed to be alone, I decided to retire early. Although I struggled to get off to sleep, I was worried about Holmes and figured we needed some light relief. I was disturbed when he came to bed in the early hours. I reached out for him, nestling my head into his back. He slipped his hand into mine, squeezing it gently. "You don't always find life easy, do you, Sherlock?" I whispered. "I wish I could help you with that." He turned around to face me, pulling me close until I was cradled in his muscular arms. "You already have, Nin. Finding you has brought new meaning and purpose into my life." I lay in his arms until eventually we both fell asleep. Holmes opened his eyes the following morning to find me smiling down at him. "Good morning," I whispered. "Nin," Holmes cried. "What on earth are you doing?" He spoke in an exasperated tone. "I know that look. What is it?" He raised an eyebrow. "I have a complaint to make. You are not paying me enough attention. You are going to have to do a whole lot better." "I wondered when you were going to bring that up," he groaned. "Forgive me if I have been distracted." "Sherlock, please don't go down to the village this morning. Can we not forget our troubles for once and spend the day together? Let us pretend we're a commonplace couple doing things that commonplace people do." "Super," What's up, bro? Holmes stared at me for a moment, a flicker of amusement on his face. All right, he conceded. We'll do what you want, only for today. Pray tell me how you wish to spend the day? I brightened at his reply, gesturing to the sun streaming in through the open window. After breakfast, we could take a walk, maybe have a picnic, and visit the ruins at the amphitheater. It's such a lovely day today. All right, he agreed, pulling me to him. After breakfast, we took a leisurely walk through the fields, exploring the wildflower meadow under a warm, cloudless sky. We returned to the barn to discover Gabriella had left a picnic basket containing ham, cheese, bread, fresh fruit, and wine. I added 2 slices of panettone loaf I had baked the day before. To my great relief, it was delicious. Thanks to Violetta and Ava, my culinary skills were definitely improving. We set off in the brougham and spent a glorious afternoon at the amphitheater, eating the contents of our picnic and soaking up the atmosphere amid the stunning scenery, which looked magnificent against the backdrop of a beautiful Tuscan sky. Holmes took my hand in his and stared into my eyes, his mood turning serious. During our last altercation, you asked what really happened between Victoria and me. By God, Neen, you of all people deserve to know the truth. He sighed before continuing. We had been seeing each other for around 4 months. I made it clear from the outset that our relationship was not exclusive. And then she came to see me one night in a state of agitation and told me she was expecting my child. I wasn't happy. I thought we had been careful. We were both far too young to even contemplate marriage. But then I realized I had no choice but to do the right thing. By Victoria and my child. So I proposed to her. And what happened next? I'm ashamed to say that part of me felt jealous. I would have loved to have known Holmes back then as a young man embracing his bohemian lifestyle. I wanted us to be married straight away in a registry office, Holmes continued, but Victoria insisted on a church wedding. The bonds were out. We were due to be married 4 weeks hence, when tragically Victoria suffered a miscarriage. A week later, she returned my ring and told me she was releasing me from my promise. She had met someone else, a better man than me, and that was the end of our relationship. I felt relieved, although sad about the child. I realized I lost my one and only chance to become a father, as I vowed never to lie with another woman. He sighed deeply. You see, I hadn't been faithful to Victoria. Professor, good evening. How's it going? You were unfaithful, I exclaimed. I was young, brash, and arrogant, even more so than I am now. I wanted to experiment and see what all the fuss was about, although I never liked what I found. A month later, I heard that Victoria and the lawyer John Parkinson had married. I thought it all rather sudden, but I saw them together 3 months later. It was obvious Victoria was heavily pregnant. After making extensive inquiries, I discovered that Parkinson had been married before. I eventually tracked down his ex-wife, Anne Goldsmith, and she told me they divorced 4 years earlier, as they had been unable to conceive a child. You see, Parkinson had kept from her the fact that he was infertile. Apparently, he contracted mumps as a child, then developed complications. Later, I confronted Parkinson and Victoria at their home in Knightsbridge, but they denied everything, of course. What was I to do? They say he is a wise man who knows his own child. Shortly after, Parkinson came to see me and told me that Victoria had suffered a catastrophic postpartum hemorrhage. She and the child, a boy, both died. The infant starved of oxygen in the womb. Parkinson admitted the child was mine. He apologized, but it was far too late. Apparently the boy was perfect, not a mark on him. But I never had the chance to lay eyes on my own son. Holmes shook his head and smiled at me, his eyes filled with tears. Because of my cavalier attitude, I was indirectly responsible for the death of 2 people. After that, how could I ever feel worthy of being a father and ask any woman to marry me? Least of all you. I often think of my son and how he would have turned out. He would be 18 now, ready to go off to university, his whole life ahead of him. But tragically, that was not meant to be. Taking a deep breath, I kissed him tenderly on the cheek, my heart breaking at the sight of him consumed by grief. I'm sorry you had to endure that. But you need to stop torturing yourself. It wasn't your fault. At least I got to see my child before she was so cruelly taken from me. I smiled at him, tears running down my face. Shall we head back to Lissol? Perhaps I can think of a way to put that smile back on your face. Yes, I would like that. Holmes squeezed my hand tightly. What I have just told you, I never wish to speak of again. I knew exactly how he felt. I recognized that horrible, agonizing pain, the feeling of despair that never leaves you. Our sorrow shared. We returned to Lissol and spent the remainder of the afternoon sitting on the porch in quiet contemplation. I poured Holmes a whiskey and soda, and he retained his pensive mood, staring out into the garden. After dinner, he asked if I would play the piano for him. I was happy to oblige, anything to lift his somber mood. First, I played Song from the Evening Star from Tannhäuser, also known as The Star of Eve, as I knew it was one of his favorites. When I glanced across at Holmes as I hit the last note, he smiled at me appreciatively, his mood far more relaxed as I drew him further into my world with piano and voice. I moved on to Brangenen's song from Act 2 of Wagner's Tristan and Isolde, a piece I had performed many times in concert and never grew tired of. Who could grow weary of Richard Wagner? Later that evening, I gazed into Holmes's eyes as we lay on the bed, my head upon his shoulder. Thank you for humoring me, I said. I hope it didn't put you out too much, being ordinary, even if it was only for one day. Overall, it's been a good day, said Holmes. There's a joy to be found in the simplest of places. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of chapter 38. A joy to be found indeed. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see. There's 362 pages of story. And next time we will start on page 239. So 120, 130 left. Such good stuff. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, thank you. All right. Well, as I mentioned, we will be reading in about 20 minutes in Discord. If anyone wishes to join us for that, all you have to do is type !iron. That will give you a Discord link. And then we'll be in the event chat in about 20 minutes. What is your favorite voice actor or voice actor work you like to do? I think I would say documentary style for the most part. But I really enjoy doing character voices when the opportunity arises. And of course, narrating books is definitely at the top of the list, but as far as like everything outside of Twitch, I would say the documentary style is at the top of my list for now. Thank you for asking. All right, let me find someone we can go say hello to. Yes, indeed. Okay. Oh, that's right. I was like, why do I see myself? That's because I was in Mook's stream and we raided. Oh, boy. There's a lot of people on, Ryan.
Yeah, hi. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
I came into the stream late, but I'm always happy to support voice actors and silky smooth voices. You are very kind. I appreciate you being here. I really do.
More! More!
There is more. In Discord. In Stunt Mama's Discord, actually. Yes, there's the link. Click it. Shake it, shake it, shake it like a Polaroid picture. I don't know why I did that. Okay. I really need to pick somebody. I just don't know who to pick. Any requests? We raided Princess last time. Rio's playing 7 Days to Die. Yeah, go ahead and make a suggestion, please. I'll make my dinner snack and hop in tonight, I think. It would be a pleasure to have you, Techie. Who might your suggestion be? Tequila Sunrise, she's playing Don't Scream right now, according to Twitch. I can't do that voice. Tequila, let me pull up the Tequila Sunrise. Please hold. Let's take a look. Tequila, is there an underscore? Yes. Okay, I see it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go make a new friend. Let's go make a new friend. All right, here's the raid message. Please feel free to copy that. All right. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for the raids as well. Those were outstanding and always a surprise that I would even be thought of. We'll be in Discord, as I've repeated like 20 times now. But otherwise, we'll be back on Sunday to keep reading this really cool book. Mama House Gaming, thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful bee. Where will I be? I'll be in Discord, actually. Yeah. But until then, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have a wonderful night.